अस्मद्गुरुपरम्परायै विद्महे ज्ञानलिङ्गेश्वराय धीमहि तन्नो गुरुः प्रचोदयात्। ओम योगमहर्षि डॉक्टर स्वामी गीतानंद गिरी गुरु महाराज की जय। ओम पुदुवै कलैमामणि पुदुवै शक्ति योगचारिणी अम्मा जी मीनाक्षी देवी भवनानी गुरु माता की जय। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। नमस्ते, वणक्कम, स्वागतम, bonjour, buongiorno, buonasera, buonanotte, huya more, boreida, kiyo ora, salamat pagi, ayu bhovan, ayushman bhava, shubh dinam, suprapad. Salam. Welcome to yet another Saturday. And last Saturday we looked at the beautiful concept of the 12 chakras, the Dvadasha Chakrani concept of the Gitananda tradition. And after that I thought, well, once I have gone on to that, the next logical sequence is to go through each one of them. And so this week we are on Mooladhara. That is why I have my red t-shirt on. Mooladhara considered the first of the centers, because that is where we start our journey back home, sweet home. Back home, sweet home. That journey, when we want to start it and we want to retrace our path back, Prati Prasava, we want to have a journey that goes back to the source, going from the gross through the subtle into the causal, from the stula through the sukshma into the karana. That journey starts where we are. The journey always starts where we are. And where are we? Well, all of us are on this planet called Earth, and we have landed here with a thud. And so we are earthbound. We are earthlings. We are connected to the earth because that's sort of the grossest of levels of manifestation, and that's where we are. And this is why everybody wants to be able to see things, feel things, touch things. You know, they want to have that sensory engagement, and they want to know that it is hard and real. So, you know, I should be able to hold it in my hands, otherwise it's not real. It has to, you know, be there at the grossest level of stula, otherwise we don't accept it exists. That's just the tip of the iceberg. So many layers lie beneath it or above it. When we talk of the Mooladhara Chakra, the word chakra implies a vortex of energy. I like to say these are like the major transformers. Because just as we have step-up transformers and step-down transformers, we as a earthling, we as a human being, we need to be able to deal with energy, the cosmic energies. And so the chakras that are aligned cerebrospinally, the Pinda chakras, as we saw last week. The Pinda chakras, they are enabling us to function at the grossest level of existence. And this is where we need to have stability. We need to have a sense of balance if we are to be able to do anything. And Mooladhara is the center that gives us that stability. a stability that comes from being grounded to the earth that we inhabit. And hence the Mooladhara can be understood as Mooladhara. The term Adhara refers to proof. It refers to that which exists. So for example, in Tamil, whenever someone says something, you say, Adukku enna adharam. What is your proof that it is there? Moola refers to the root. So the root that supports your very existence. Hence, Mooladhara translated as the root support center. A center of energies that enables us to be connected, rooted deeply, firmly, so that we can manifest what Maharishi Patanjali wants us to manifest, Drida Bhumi. Now recently Muggs asked me about this and I haven't yet got around to answering her. The different bhumis. Because we talk of the Chitta bhumis as the states of the mind. But then you have statements of Maharishi Patanjali like Drida Bhumi, which means when you are established on a firm ground. So here, Drida Bhumi is a firm ground. Bhumi refers to the ground, a level, a foundation, a plane, a floor in a building, all of these. So here, Drida Bhumi, if you want to be established in a firm foundation, you need to be well rooted. And this is why people want to go to the roots of yoga. I say even beyond the roots of yoga, we need to understand the seeds of yoga. Nobody is interested in that. That is deeper and more timeless. When we want to understand the Mooladhara, it is the root support center that just like a tree is supported by its roots into the ground, we are supported by this center that gives us the roots into the plane of existence that is earth where we are currently residing. So if this center and its energies are blocked, what happens is we don't have a sense of security. We don't have a sense of stability. And we'll become like a tree whose roots have been uprooted. So the energies of the Mooladhara enable us to be rooted to the very place where we are. And this is why working on this center is of paramount importance if we are to have a sense of sthirata and sukhata, which is what asana is all about. Sthira sukham asana. So that sthirata and sukhata, a stability and a sense of ease will come when our roots are strong. Now if you want the roots of a tree to be strong, what do? Water them. You have to pay attention to them. You have to give them nourishment. And that is why whenever we contemplate this center, we are nourishing this center. Whenever we do practices that are supporting the energy in this center, we are strengthening our roots so that we can start to have a sense of stability. We will be firmly grounded and then can start our journey without any hiccups. You know, I always remember when I speak of roots, the story in our Panchatantra, Jataka tales. You know, these are the beautiful tales that are there in Indian culture. A parallel is the Aesop's fables. And there is a story where the king had a huge garden filled with plants and trees and all. And he had a nice gardener, a Mali. And Mali is a gardener. That's why Vanamali is the name of the divine gardener who's tending to all of us, making sure that we are all healthy plants and being nourished by the divine Vanamali. So this Mali, he every day is taking care of this garden, and there are a group of monkeys, a gang of monkeys. And this gardener looks very depressed one day, and the head of the monkeys, every group has a head, okay? Even a group of fools has to have a head. A group of idiots have to have a head. That's why, we elect people to office. So this monkey asks the gardener, he says, "Oh my God, you look so depressed, what's the matter?" And the man says, "Well, I need to go out of station for a few days for some work, but if I go out, who will take care of the garden?" The monkey says, "Well, we are there to help you. A friend is there to be a friend in need. A friend in need is a friend indeed." Be careful of those monkey friends, okay? They'll do you in. So he says, "Don't worry, we will take care." The gardener says, "See, you have to water all the plants. You have to make sure the water goes down to the roots. Because if the roots dry up, the plant will dry up and it will die, and, I'll be in trouble." "No, don't worry, we will do it." So the gardener goes off onto his journey. The monkeys start watering the garden. Everything's going well. They are using the hose pipe and they're using the sprinkler system, and everything is going well. And then suddenly a monkey asks a question. Now be careful when monkeys ask questions, okay? Because they come from a very different level of existence. And that is why the monkey mind asking questions, we have to be very careful. This monkey mind, it asks the question, it says, "Boss, we have been watering all these plants. How do we know whether the water has gone to the root or not?" Be careful of these people in your team, okay? How do we know the water has gone to the root? And so another monkey, this is what happens in committees. Another monkey, I know the answer. We will just take the plant out of the ground and check whether the roots are watered or not, whether they are wet or not. And so all these monkeys go around uprooting all the plants in the garden to check whether the roots are wet or not, and then putting them back, taking them out, putting them back. And this goes on for a week. No wonder when the gardener comes back, there's no garden left. There's been a massacre. You have to be very careful. Because, often our monkey mind doesn't let us go deep into any practice. Currently we are having the deeper Gitananda, going deeper into the practices, going into the roots, watering the roots so that your roots are stable, strong and stable. Most people, they just window shopping surface. You have to be very careful of that. The root has to be strong. So the Mooladhara is the root center that enables us to be connected to the place where we are, grounded, have a sense of stability, balance, and is associated with the earth element, Prithvi. And this is why the mandala that is used for contemplating the Mooladhara, the mandala mandalas can be understood as the collective, unconscious, the archetypes, the primitive archetypes that are understood in teachings like from Jung and others. The collective archetypes, there are these archetypal symbols that connect us to energy. The mandalas are like that. So the mandala that enables us to connect to the Mooladhara energy is Prithvi Mandala. Prithvi is earth, Mandala is a geometrical shape that is the embodiment of the energy that we are trying to access. Contemplating the mandala enables you to access the energy. It's like the logo of that chakra, if you want to call it that. So the Prithvi Mandala is a square shape. So it is square. Now three-dimensionally it is a cube. So what does a square imply? A square implies stability. A square implies firmness, compactness. That is why the square symbol for Mooladhara. The energy of Prithvi, Mandala, that is connected to Mooladhara has that sense of stability. And it is a yellow square. So you have the yellow square, which is the mandala we contemplate in mandala dharana. This is very much in line with the teachings of Gheranda Samhita. In fact, many times I feel Swamiji's teachings are very much in tune with the Gheranda Samhita actually, where the concept of the mandala dharana is found. When we contemplate the mandala strongly, we start to become aware of the connection to the energies of the Mooladhara. And by becoming aware of these energies, we are nourishing their functionality. Now that same square can be invoked by the mandala dharana, where there is a mental process of contemplating that square. There is a process. You have a yellow square drawn on a chart, placed at a certain distance. You sit and contemplate the top of it, the bottom of it, the middle of it, and you become one with it. It is a process called mandala dharana in our tradition. Very strong practice to connect to these energies. Prithvi, the earth energy of Mooladhara. Now there is also a specific pranayama practice which is working on that. So it is called Prithvi Mandala Pranayama, where you are performing a breathing in, coming up your right side, a breathing, a holding in, going across to the left shoulder, breathing out from left shoulder to left hip, and then left hip to right hip, holding out. So the Sukha Purvaka Pranayama pattern of say 4, 4, 4, 4. So you breathe in, you hold, you breathe out, you hold. A square shape is created in your pranayama sadhana itself, and this is done in a clockwise way from the right hip to the right shoulder, left shoulder to the left hip to the right hip. And a very beautiful practice, the Prithvi Mandala Pranayama, that enables us to again manifest the energies of the Prithvi Mandala. So one is through the Mandala Dharana, second is through the Pranayama. And what are you doing through this? You are enhancing your connectivity to the energies of Mooladhara. Now sometimes people talk about awakening the chakras. Activating the chakras, balancing the chakras. It's very popular. The chakra is already active. The chakra is already balanced. The chakra is already in its best functionality in your Anandamaya Kosha. But you know what? We are disconnected from it. The electricity is there, but your switch is off. It's as simple as that. You have not put on the switch and you say, oh, there's no electricity. Oh, I'm going to empower the electricity by putting on the switch. No. Electricity is already empowered. The putting on the switch is for you to connect to that already empowered electricity. The work we do with the Mooladhara, all the practices, every practice we do for Mooladhara sadhana is aimed at helping us reconnect to the energies of Mooladhara. Now these energies are energies that are faster than the speed of light, because they are universal energies, subtle energies. And these energies are so powerful. And this is why people want to play around with it. It's not something to play around. It's like kids putting their fingers into electrical sockets. That's how dangerous it is. It's like kids going and putting the hand in fire. That's how dangerous this can be. And this is why it is not a funny, oh, I'll have one more experience by working on the chakras, ha 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 ha, and go for a weekend with some crazy guy who will activate your chakras by putting his hand on different parts of your body. Be careful of those people. They just want to get their hands on you, not activate your chakras. Lot of nonsense goes on, because what are they doing? They are trying to misuse these teachings. Nobody can help you activate your chakra, okay? It is your own effort. The currency of spirituality is self-effort. Spiritual evolution, the currency is self-effort. People can guide you. They can be the scaffolding. They can be the support system. They cannot do it for you. So if anybody says, pay me, I'll do it for you, there's no outsourcing chakras, okay? There's no outsourcing chakras. It's all insourcing. So coming to Mooladhara, it is related to the earth element. Each of the chakras, the lower 5 centers, the first 5 spinal centers, connected to one of the elements, so earth element. And through this connection, the earth element, which has cohesiveness, this cohesiveness is there. What is earth? Mud, wet earth. If we have had rains the last few days, so it's cooled down tremendously. The earth has that cohesiveness. There is a sense of oneness, a cohesiveness that comes with the earth element. That is the type of energy the Mooladhara is giving you. It holds things together. Integrativeness, connectiveness, consolidation, solidification, earth, solidification. All of these concepts come together. And because of the connectivity with the element, earth, Pancha Mahabhuta, it is connected to one of the jnana indriyas, the sensory organs. So the sensory organ, the apparatus of sensation. So the organ here is the nose and the sense of smell. Grana is the nose, grana. And through the nose, the grana, you are perceiving gandha. So gandha is the smell that is perceiving through the nose. Smell perceived through the nose. The nose is the jnana indriya. It is the sensory tool. What is perceived is a tanmatra. It is a subtle element. So you have the gross element earth. The subtle element is smell, gandha. And what is enabling you to have that? Well, that is the jnana indriya, the nose. Stula sukshma anvaya arthavatva samyamat. Patanjali talks about how this connection between the stula, earth, the sukshma, which is your sense of smell, and how that is connected. All of these are interconnected. The sensory apparatus, the gross element of the Pancha Mahabhuta, in this case, earth, and along with that you have the subtle. What is the subtle element? It is smell. And what is it that gives you that smell? The jnana indriya. Now this is one way to approach earth. Another way to approach this is dealing with the solid state. So we have different states of matter. So the solid state of matter, which has the least degree of freedom, because all the particles are very tightly bound. That is the Mooladhara. Because the particles are tightly bound and the degree of freedom is the least and so limited, that is why with Mooladhara we are stuck on this planet. And that is why we have to deal with the gross embodiment of our own and other beings. The sensory apparatus, jnana indriya, of the nose, sense of smell, earth, the beautiful sense of, the smell of earth. Very beautiful. Someone told me the English word for it, I've forgotten it. It's actually a beautiful English word for that sense of the smell of the earth. Especially after, the rain, the earth, if you're out in the countryside, if you're in the cities, it stinks. The smell after rain is stinking. In cities, you go into the countryside, you have that smell. Man vasanai, we call it. Now similarly, there is a karma indriya, an action organ, a sense of action that is related to Mooladhara, and Swamiji has taught us that it is related to Pada. Pada, which implies the sense of locomotion. people often translate pada as the feet. So they say, oh, the karmendriya is the feet. The karmendriya is not really the feet. Yes, Terry, petrichor. That's the word I was looking for. Exactly. The karma indriya is not the feet. The karma indriya is the sense of locomotion that is enabled by the feet. Okay? So we have to be very clear here, because we get stuck with the feet are karmendriya. No, the feet are not karmendriya. Because it is an indriya, it is a sense of what? Karma, action. So it is a sense of an action. It is not just a body part. It is a sense of action. And what is that sense of action? The sense of locomotion. The sense of locomotion is what pada is all about. And where do you have that sense of locomotion? The earth. Mooladhara, earth element, smell, petrichor. Yeah, I got that. Petrichor. And the sense of locomotion. If you want to walk, if you want to move, if you want to locomote, you better be on firm ground, okay? When you're on water, it's not called locomotion, it's called swimming. It's different. If you're in air, it's called flying. It's different. Locomotion implies that there is a motion on a solid surface. That is why the trains were called locomotives. You don't call a plane a locomotive. You don't call a ship a locomotive. Now you'll ask me why cars are not called locomotives. I don't know. When I don't know, I say I don't know. But it just comes. Locomotion is the karma indriya. And how is this brought into action? There is a group of nerves down at the base of your spine which are called the sacral nerves. So there is a plexus called the sacral plexus. A plexus is where different nerves come together. It is a conglomeration. There is conglomeration of the nerves coming together. The sacral plexus. The sacral plexus supplies the lower limb. And it also supplies your reproductive organs. So we'll come to that. So the sacral plexus is supplying the legs, enabling the movement to occur. That is why, though there are different versions of this relationship of karmendriya with the chakra, the version that Swamiji has given to me is very logical, because here you are utilizing the earth to move. How are you moving? By the energies coming through the sacral plexus that are supplying your lower limb, enabling you to move. And it is related to the gonads. So the testes and the ovaries. The gonads are supplied, the gonadal health is maintained by the energy of the Mooladhara. Now do not think the Mooladhara is the gonads, or the gonads are the Mooladhara, or the sacral plexus is the Mooladhara. See, these are all associations, these are correlations. The energy exists on its own. Now when we have an earthly existence, those energies connect through certain parts of us, supplying certain parts of us, enhancing the functionality of certain parts of us. So the Mooladhara is related to the sacral plexus, Mooladhara is related to the gonads. It doesn't mean the gonads are the Mooladhara. You know, many people have made this confusion. Many people have made this confusion. So, if I have had my ovaries taken out, I don't have a Mooladhara anymore. No, that's stupid. The Mooladhara exists whether you have ovaries or not. Now, if you have ovaries and a testes too, okay? Well, some people, one has to be removed. Okay? I'm not getting into that. 2 ovaries, 2 testes. Now, if you have an ovary and a testis, the energy of the Mooladhara can come through it. Now, if you don't, it will find another way to come through. Because it always wants to help you. The energy always wants to help you. Now, if you have it's like, you have the beautiful signals, but you need the proper mobile phone to connect to the signal. That's all. The signal exists irrespective of you having a mobile phone or not. The signal exists irrespective of you connecting to it or not. So please do not think the chakras are dependent on us. That is the biggest egotistic, BS. The chakras exist on their own. They don't need us. We need to connect to them. And this is why when we start to understand the connectivities, the sacral plexus gives us the neuronal connections through which the Mooladhara energy can flow. The gonads give us the endocrine structure through which the Mooladhara energies can flow. We start to relate it to the earth element, the sense of smell, the capacity of locomotive sense, a sense of locomotion. All of these come together. And this is why the Mooladhara, it is having 4 petals. 4 is the significance of stability. We are having stability on this planet, and the Mooladhara, when all the energies are moving properly, the 4 petals of the Mooladhara signify 4 flows of energy. There are 4 flows of energy. When you are sitting facing north, now in our tradition, in general you would face north. So whenever you do any practice, you will face north except at sunrise. At sunrise you will face east. Otherwise, any other time of day you face north. So you are facing north. You are in a seated posture. Now all the seated postures are giving us an opportunity to work on Mooladhara. And this is why if you look at the 4 most important asanas in the Hatha Pradipika, the Hatha Pradipika talks of Siddhasana, Bhadrasana, Simhasana. This is what happens. Siddhasana is the most important. So asanas like Siddhasana, Bhadrasana, Padmasana, Simhasana, yes, now they all 4 have come. These are asanas where you are putting yourself into a body posture where you can start to work with your mind focused on these energies. So all the seated posture, be it Vajrasana, Padmasana, Sukhasana, Siddhasana, Bhadrasana, Padmasana, Ardha Padmasana, all of these, when you sit down, you are connecting your root support center, the Mooladhara, to the ground on which you are sitting, Prithvi. And this is why great importance was placed to these sitting postures. And they were given the fundamental aspect, because ultimately yoga is all about connecting to the energies. The Hatha Yoga tradition is connecting to the energies, becoming balanced energy-wise. So when you connect through these seated postures, whenever you want to connect to the Mooladhara, take up a good seated posture as close to the earth as possible. If you can get out into the garden, well, it is very nice. If you can get out into the garden, it is good. Go onto the beach, onto the mountains. If you are on the 35th floor of a high rise, it's not the same, okay? It's not the same. When you are connected to the earth, we are an earthling, and we are connected to it, then you start to find that stability that comes from the Mooladhara. And these 4 flows of energy, there's a flow towards the north, a flow towards the east, a flow towards the west, and a flow towards the south. So these 4 energy flows, north, south, east, and west, are understood by the yogis and given the metaphor of being petals. So it is said the Mooladhara is a Chatush Dala or Char Dala Padma. It is a lotus. They are called lotuses because the lotus, it awakens when the light comes. The lotus is closed, the bud. And what happens? It opens up when the light comes. So these are centers that are like lotuses, and as the energy flows through them, those lotuses bloom with that inner energy. The subtle energies, when they come through us, they bloom. And that is why they are called Padma. So they are Padmas and 4 petals. So the 4 energies, north, south, east, and west, that give us the stability. So the 4 petals. Now, if there's going to be a center where you start your journey, there's going to be the requirement for a kickstart, the ignition. Ignition, You have your vehicle, you have to put the key in, start it. You have to kick start your bike. Right? What is the kick-start energy? The kick-start energy is Lord Ganesha. Lord Ganesha, Gananatha, Vigneshwara. That is the energy that kick-starts our journey from Mooladhara. What a powerful energy, and that is why we invoke him. Om Tad Ganeshaya Vidmahe Vakratundaya Dhimahe Tanno Danti Prachodaya. That energy of Gang Gang Gaum Ganapataye Namaha enables us to kickstart our journey. Hence, Lord Ganesha is called Mooladhara Murti. He is the Mooladhara Murti. A beautiful composition from Papanasan 7. Mooladhara Murti Gajamugane Saranam Unadu Ubaya Charanam Mooladhara Murti Gajamugane Saranam Unadu Ubaya Charanam Mooladhara Murti Gajamugane Saranam Unadu Ubaya Charanam Mooladhara Murti Gajamugane, 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 Gajamugane. That beautiful energy of Lord Ganesha that is enabling us to get moving. He is the Igneshwara. Yes, Sonal. He is the igniting energy. So Vigneshwara, Igneshwara, the Lord of ignition. Hope that's not sacrilegious. We need that kickstart. And that is why when the rectal area, the anal rectal region is cleaned, one of the Shatkarmas, in the Shatkarma, Malashodhana karmas, the cleaning of the rectal area with the thumb is called Ganesha Kriya. 108 Malashodhana karmas are there. 108 ways to clean out the debris that is blocking our energy conduits. And Ganesha Kriya is there. Practices like the Moola Bandha, practices like the Ashwini Mudra, these are practices that work on this energy. Amazing energies, I tell you, down here. And inside this, Mooladhara is said to reside a sleeping giant, a sleeping giantess, sleeping beauty, Kundalini, Ma Kundalini. Swami used to say that, the 7 dwarfs in Sleeping Beauty, they are the unawakened centers, so they are dwarfs. And the Sleeping Beauty has to have her union with the highest. He said it's actually a tale of Kundalini itself. Snow White and the 7 dwarfs, Sleeping Beauty, yeah. Ma Kundalini, 3.5 coiled serpent, serpentine energy that can go like that. That is the energy. And again, there is an amazing teaching. I keep on coming back to it from our dear ICYER, Tamil Moodathi ICYER. What an amazing woman. Dynamite incarnate. And her Vinayagar Agaval is a full tantric teaching. Kundali Adanit Kudi Ajabai Vindil Mandiram Velipada Uraithu Mooladharat Moondil Kanalai Kalal Yerupum Karutharivit. That this energy, a potent energy, is there in the Mooladhara. And through the work with the breath, we need to awaken it and clear the path for that energy from the Mooladhara to come up through the other centers into the Sahasrara, the Brahma Rantra, and have that consummation of the Shiva and the Shakti. that consummation of the Ida and the Pingala into the Sushumna, the coming together of the day and the night, coming together of the Ha and the Ta, the Loma and the Viloma, it has to happen. Beautiful teachings. Kundali Adane Kudiya Ajabai. Ajabai is Ajapa mantra. People think it's a song for Lord Ganesha. Vinayaka Ragaval, and everybody sings it in a temple and he, Lord Ganesha will bless us. These are teachings, these are sacred teachings that were there, put into it for those who were looking for it. When we go into it and understand it, you start to realize how they are all hidden. Kundali Adanet Kudi Ajabai. Vindel Mandiram Velipada Uraithu Mooladhara Moondel Kanalai Kalal Yerupum Kartharivithu Amudanilayum Aditaniyakamum Kumuda Sagayan Gunatayum Kuri Idai Chakaratin Niratinilayum Muda Chakaratin Urupayum Karti. All hidden teachings in the sacred texts. And you have to be aware of where they are. Find these nuggets that are hidden there. Otherwise we think, oh, these are just songs that are sung. What beautiful teachings are there. The Mooladhara, the seat of the Kundalini. And this is why we need to make sure we are worthy of awakening these energies. This is not a fun trip. This is not another hallucinogenic LSD trip. This is not another ecstasy trip. No. This is where you start to become worthy. Yogyatha. Again and again the yoga tradition stresses on being worthy for these teachings and being worthy for these experiences. You don't steal it by hook or crook. And that is why anybody who offers you shortcuts on this, especially, oh, you pay me and I'll give you the shortcut, they are scoundrels. Sorry, they are scoundrels. You don't sell your mother. Sorry, gangster yogi came out there because these are such potent energies that have been misunderstood. When we want to work on these centers, the Mooladhara, it has its own password. It has its own password. These passwords are the Bija mantras. I have given a separate session on the Bija mantras, I think a few months ago. The Bija mantra is the key word, the password to connect to these energies. Again, you are not awakening something, okay? You are connecting. As I already told you, these energies are magnificently in the full splendor. We are disconnected from them. To reconnect, to regain the lost connection, there is what is called a Dhara Bija. Dhara Bija is the Bija for that center itself. It is awakening our mindfulness to the energy. And the sound of La, L-A, La, which is one of the alphabets. So people always think, oh, these are just the Sanskrit alphabets. They are not just the Sanskrit alphabet, because the Sanskrit alphabet is for the sense of communication as a language. So I'm not talking about the sound that is a language communication. We are potentiating the language into an energy message. So we are moving from a verbal Vaikari based communication. Vaikari is where we are communicating in our day-to-day affairs. You look good, you don't look good, come, give me this, give me that, do that for me, do this for me, take this from me. You know, all of that is Vaikari. We are moving from the Vaikari, we want to go back to what is called the Paranad. Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama and the Vaikari are there. We want to go back to that original source. And for that, the Bija, which is La, has to be potentiated. And here, I'm giving a very short explanation. My Bija talk given some months ago are very, very clear in this. What we do is that the sound, which is a Vaikari Nada, has to be potentiated. So there has to be an expressed sound, and as a result of your expressed sound, there will be a created sound. So you make a tone, and then there will be the aftertone. So the aftertone is the Anuswara. But the tone has to be made. That is why it is very important when we think about this concept that the Ganesha Atharva Sirsha talks about the Bija sound Gang Ganapataye. Gang Ganapataye. It says Gakara Purva Rupam. Ga is the first part. Gakara Purva Rupam. Akaro Madhyama Rupam. So Ga, Ig plus A becomes Ga. Gakara Purva Rupam. Akaro Madhyama Rupam. Then comes Anuswaras Chanta Rupam. So Ig plus A plus Ig plus A plus becomes Gam. So then what has to come is the Anuswaras Chanta Rupam, and then has to come Bindurutta Rupam. That is where the Bindu has to come. So Gakara Purva Rupam, Akaro Madhyama Rupam, Anuswaras Chanta Rupam, Bindurutta Rupam, Nada Sandhanam, Sahita Sandhihi, Shesha Ganesha Vidya, Ganaka Rishihi, Nithrud Gayatri Chandaha, Ganapadir Devata. And then he gives the bija. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Gang. Like Gang Ho. As a result of making the tone Gang, you create an aftertone Gam. Like you ring a bell, there's the clanging sound, and then there's that aftertone that goes into the gross to subtle to the causal. The gross is the clanging, but you had to clang for the sake of the cling. Clang for the sake of the cling. There has to be the gross sound. And that is why the La has to become the Lam, has to become the Lung. As if, you're talking your right lung, left lung, lung. It's that type of sound. Lung. And when you make it as part of the mantra sadhana, Lung, it's a nasal twang that goes upwards. Lung. That is the type of energy that you want to create. As a result of the Lang, that aftertone Lam will resonate. There is an exoteric sound and there is an esoteric sound. You don't make the aftertone. And there's been a lot of problem with this because everybody is trying to make the aftertone. They are trying to make the sound that comes after you have finished ringing the bell. You have to first ring the bell. And so there's been a lot of confusion on this. I would say it is a good safety mechanism, so I don't condemn it. It's a good safety mechanism to keep people, chanting Lam, 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 Lam. Very nice. Have fun. Nothing wrong. But if you really want to connect to the Mooladhara, Lang. And similarly, each of the petals has its own bija, its own keyword, its own password. Again the same formula. There will be the 4 sounds for the 4 petals. Again, people are trying to make the inner sound. You have to make the outer sound for the inner sound to manifest. But everybody is caught on the inner sound. And this is why you need a Guru Shishya Parampara. You need a direct teacher-student relationship. The internet's not enough, I'm sorry. Professor Google and Professor Wikipedia will not be able to help you on that. Yoga is a living tradition. It requires a living relationship between teacher and taught. And this is why we are enhancing the physical into the metaphysical through this process. Vang, Shang, Shang, Vang, Shang, Shang, Sang, Vang, Shang, Shang, Sang. The 4 petals. There's a process called the Mantralaya in which we work on this. These are teachings that I can only touch on the surface at this point of time. Those of you who know me, you know that we have had extensive sessions of yogic psychic neurology during the COVID times, and there are so many avenues for that. Because these teachings are teachings that have to be approached with sincerity, reverence, gratitude and respect and acknowledgement. But just I wanted to put it out there. Don't think that you are activating a chakra. You are connecting yourself back to the energy of the chakra. Swami used to say the energies of the chakras are in full abundance in the Anandamaya Kosha. That was a beautiful concept he had. From the Pranamaya Kosha onwards, we have opportunities to connect. Through our sadhana, it may be the asana sadhana, in this case, the seated asanas. It is so important, the seated asanas. The pranayama sadhana, as I said, the Prithvi Mandala and other pranayamas are there. And then the Mantralaya sadhana that can be there. Practices like Moolabandha, Ashwini Mudra to again enhance the energies of this area. And then the Mantra sadhana, the Mantralaya sadhana. These are sadhanas that can be done to work on it. I think that's enough for today. I just try to share what I can, and because it's a public platform and people of all sizes and natures and experiences, there are people with decades and decades of experience, there are people who just came in today. So I think I try to share as much I can that can give every one of you fodder for thought. Be blessed wherever you are. Be a blessing. And let us be the person we would love to have in our own life. Hari Om Tat Sat. Dhanyavadaha. Nandri Vanakkam.